Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show. I've decided today here I'm going to do a Eastern and Western Conference NBA preview. I'm here to do my preview for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. Starting tonight, actually, is the Pacers Celtics, and then tomorrow's Mavs Timberwolves game. But let's get into Pacers Celtics. The Celtics rode here, beating the Heat in 5 games, the Cavs in 5 games, against 2 kind of injury-riddled teams. But they probably would have beat them regardless, so you can't really complain about the injuries. They would have beat them regardless. How the Pacers got here, they beat the Bucks in 6 games. They beat the Knicks in 7 games with that blowout victory in Game 7. Was very impressed with the Pacers there on the road, shooting 63%. So that's how they got here. So that's how these two teams are meeting here in the conference finals. And don't listen to Draymond Green, who will tell you the Pacers are a regular season team, even though they're in the conference finals. Let's talk about this, and let's preview Celtics Pacers. Start here in Boston. There's a strong favorite, obviously in this series to advance to the NBA Finals. And the top seed through the regular season, 64-18 against the 6th seed Pacers, who were 47-35. And their last NBA playoff meeting actually occurred in the 2019 when the Celtics swept the Pacers. This past December, Indiana defeated Boston in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament. So Indiana can give Boston a run. I really think they can. And how the Celtics out here following an upset loss to the AC Miami Heat in the 2023 Conference Finals. They're back, making its 3rd straight appearance in the 3rd round of the playoffs in 6 and 8 seasons. And in between, the Celtics won a league best 64 regular season games, 14 more than anyone in the Eastern Conference. And logged a net rating of plus 11.7, the 3rd highest in NBA history, trailing only Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. They filled the best top 6 in basketball, full of current and former All-Star contributors, All-Star caliber contributors. And Boston, they faced little resistance for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The Heat were without Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier for the entirety of the opening round. Likewise, Cleveland Cavaliers did not have Jared Allen for the entire conference semifinals, and Donovan Mitchell for games 4 and 5. And the Celtics disposed of both teams in 5 games, posting an even better net rating, which I think was plus 12.8. And now we talked about the Celtics. Let's talk about how the Pacers got here. All-Star point guard Tyrese Haliburton began the season as an early MVP candidate for the young run-and-gun Pacers, leading into the championship game of the inaugural in-season tournament. And that left hamstring injury derailed the second half of his campaign. Right around the time they acquired 2-time All-NBA forward Pascal Siakam for the Toronto Raptors, which proven out to be a great trade. But we said it was a bad one at the time. The team won 47 games official regular season, rated 2nd in offense, 120.5 points per 100 possessions, only behind the Boston Celtics. And never felt like the Pacers hit their stride in the final few months of regular season. They were a solid team, but the defense is much better improved now. But a first-round playoff matchup against the Giannis Antetokounmpo-less Milwaukee Bucks primed their confidence, and they were also without Damian Lillard for 2 of the 6 games in the series. Given how well the Pacers performed against a healthy Milwaukee roster in the regular season, they may have won anyhow, or they probably would have won anyhow. Since they scored a remarkable 128.8 points per 100 possession in their 4 victories. Even if Giannis and Dame played, I don't think they would have won that series. I would say the Pacers, anyways. Then came the New York Knicks, who were within an Andrew Nembhard 3-pointer of taking a 3-0 lead in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and they were a traveling infamy. Already without Randall, Bogdanovich, they lost OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson. In the first 2 games of the series, Jalen Brunson endured the best of 7 set on a bad foot and left with a broken hand in the game. Even Josh Hart, who played 48 minutes a night in the absence of any depth, suffered a abdominal strain in Game 6. And still, Indiana walked into Madison Square Garden and rained hellfire on those New York Knicks in Game 7, shooting 67.1% from the field and 54.2% from 3 to silence their crowd. And when the dust settled, they scored another 129.2 points per 100 possessions. and 4 wins against New York. And we are still not sure if they played their best best ball, much like the Celtics on a playoff road paved smoothly for them. But I feel like they've hit their stride, they've got their confidence, and they can, even though they're playing on the road for the first 2 games, they're probably like, we can win one of these 2 games, probably what they're saying. But these two had a really competitive regular season series. Boston won its regular season series in Indiana 3-2. But it is difficult to take much from their 5 games since their first 4 occurred before the Pacers traded for Siakam, and Indiana's 2 victories, including that in-season tournament quarterfinal. It shot 19-40 from 3-point range and got a combined average of 49 points from Hill. But remember when they had Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown, Bennedict Mathurin. Bennedict Mathurin's been out for the season because of an injury. They don't have Bruce Brown or Buddy Hield anymore. None of these players will be available in any. None of whom is available any longer to the Pacers in this series. And also, when they lost by 51, Haliburton also missed that game on November 1st. So, it's difficult to take from these 5 games they played during the regular season. But this is a big loss for Celtics in this series, you know. Boston was without Kristaps Porzingis for its first loss to Indiana, and Jason Tatum for the second. And according to Woj, the Celtics will be without Porzingis, who is rehabbing the right calf he strained in the opening round of the playoffs for the first 2 games of the conference finals. The biggest takeaway from the 5 games against each other, the winning team made an average of 18.2 3-pointers on 47% shooting in victory. The losing team has averaged 10.8 threes on 28% shooting in defeat. So, it feels like if one team gets hot from 3 and the other gets cold, that could be a deciding factor. Really, my matchup to watch is Tyrese Haliburton versus the Boston guards against Derek White and Drew Holiday defensively. And you could have even Jaylen Brown, his length, on Tyrese Haliburton. And expect the Pacers to try and hunt Al Horford, especially if Miles Turner's on the other end of the pick and roll, see if that happens. But I felt the Boston has counters, shifting Jason Tatum onto Turner and hiding Horford elsewhere. But we'll see. The biggest X factor is going to be, to me, Pascal Siakam. For the Boston Celtics, I'll say Jason Tatum, or no, not Jason Tatum, I'll say Derek White could be the X factor. So, game 1's actually tonight at 8 p.m. So, here's my prediction. I'll say the Boston Celtics in 6 games. I think this will be a tough series for the Pacers to win. I think they can win it, though. I really think they can. But I'll say with the 6, Boston's rotation is playoff proven, with or without Porzingis. They've been on this stage 6 times in the past 8 seasons. And while Siakam for the Pacers does have championship experience, I just think the Celtics have the better roster. But these 2 teams are deep, so I think this will be a good series. But I'll say Celtics in 6. Now, we move to a quick Western Conference Finals preview here. I'm going to talk about now the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks coming off a 6-game series win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to need more from Luka Doncic and Kyrie. They had other players step up against the Thunder, like Derrick Jones Jr., P.J. Washington, players like that. But you're going to need your superstars, Kyrie and Luka, to show out here. You can't have Kyrie not be as aggressive taking shots. You need him to be aggressive taking shots. You need Luka to step up his efficiency in this series. But you still need other players to step up. But those 2 can take you the way to the finals. Have Luka and Kyrie. But you still need your other players to step up as well, like Derek Lively as well, Daniel Gafford, and Derrick Jones Jr. and P.J. Washington, those guys. Minnesota, or how the Dallas Mavericks got here. They won their first round series against the Clippers in 6 games. I believe they beat the Thunder in 6 games, the youngest, I believe, 1 seed in NBA history. So now they won their first 2 series in 6 games. I think this one's going to like 6 or 7. Now we get to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their road here. They beat the Suns 4-0 in the first round. Second round, they beat the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Very shocking right there. Didn't expect Nuggets to lose that series, but even in a game where Anthony Edwards shot 6 for 24, his defense on Jamal Murray was good, and other players. You had to step up in his last 2 games, like Jaden McDaniels, back-to-back games with 20-plus points. Karl-Anthony Towns showed up in a big Game 7. And their defense is good. Like Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. You got Mike Conley, who's really underrated. They got a really good defense, basic defense in the NBA, and that was the Nuggets' downfall. Just not enough offense to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves guard, man, like their defense is so good. And Anthony Edwards didn't even shoot his best that game, and just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Arguably the two West's two most disappointing teams a year ago will meet in the conference finals. But honestly, I'm going to say the Minnesota Timberwolves win this series in 6 games. So those are my predictions. I'll have the Celtics and Timberwolves in the finals. But yeah, that's all to say for this conference finals preview. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. And until next time, I'm out. Peace, and I'll be back with Pacers Celtics tonight.